Your gut and your brain are connected by a nerve that carries more signals upward, from stomach to brain, than in any other direction. 90% of the traffic on that highway runs from your gut to your brain, not the other way. Which means what is living in your intestines right now is actively shaping how clearly you think today. I'm Dr. Gloria Reed. Before I explain the mechanism, here is something you can do this morning. Every morning before breakfast, eat 2 tablespoons of raw sauerkraut or kimchi, the kind sold refrigerated, not shelf-stable in a can. Do this on an empty stomach at least 15 minutes before your first meal. Here is why this works. Raw fermented vegetables contain live lactobacillus bacteria that produce a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate directly feeds and repairs the cells lining your intestinal wall, the barrier that, when compromised, allows bacterial toxins to enter your bloodstream and travel toward your brain. You are not just adding probiotics, you are feeding the structural repair process of the gut wall itself. 2 tablespoons, refrigerated, empty stomach, every morning. This one action does not solve everything, but it starts a repair process that everything else in this video is designed to support. Keep that in mind, because when I show you the full protocol later, this piece is what makes everything else work. Most people believe that memory loss after 60 is a brain problem, a neuron
This
problem,
timeline shows how
something that
digestive
starts and
imbalance
ends inside
can
the skull.
subtly lead to
And
cognitive
that is
decline.
not entirely wrong.
Over time,
here
it's
is
in
the
the
part
gut
that changes
sends
everything,
progressive,
and that
subtle
almost
decline,
nobody explains.
independent of aging.
The brain does not
The
operate in
gut-brain
isolation.
axis is a
It
two-way
is downstream
communication
of the
system.
gut.
The brain sends
What
signals
happens
to the
inside
gut
your
via
digestive
nerves.
system?
The gut
Which
sends
bacteria
signals
are
back
living
to
there?
the brain via
Whether your
hormones.
intestinal
Gut
lining is
microbes
intact,
also play a key
what your
role.
gut
After age
produces and
60,
what it fails
brain
to
health can
neutralize,
decline due to various
all of that
factors.
reaches your brain
Metabolic factors
continuously
like insulin resistance
through multiple
and
biological
inflammation play a
pathways.
role. Environmental
And after
factors,
60,
including
those
air
pathways
pollution
become
and
more
chronic
vulnerable,
stress,
not
also
less.
contribute.
The villain
This
here
is
has
raw
a specific
sauerkraut,
name:
naturally
gut
fermented and
dysbiosis,
rich in live
combined with
probiotics.
increased intestinal
It's kept
permeability,
cool in the refrigerator,
what researchers call
preserving its
leaky gut.
freshness and tangensation
Here
on the
is what that
jar
actually
indicates
means.
it is cool and fresh.
Your intestinal lining is made of a single layer of cells, held together by tight junctions, microscopic seals that control what passes through and what stays out. In a healthy gut, this barrier lets nutrients in and keeps bacterial waste out. When that barrier is compromised by processed foods, by antibiotics, by chronic stress, by the natural microbiome shifts that occur with age, those tight junctions loosen. And when they do, bacterial toxins called lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, slip through the wall, enter the bloodstream, and begin traveling through the body. LPS does not stop at the blood-brain barrier.
The damaged
In people over
intestinal
60,
wall
the
begins
blood-brain
to
barrier
repair
itself becomes more
Tight
permeable
junctions
with
between
age.
cells slowly
LPS
close,
crosses it.
sealing the barrier.
And when it
the
reaches the
junctions
brain,
strengthen,
it triggers the
restoring
exact same
the intestinal wall's
neuroinflammatory response
integrity.
that researchers
The
now
healthy
link
intestinal
directly
barrier
to
selectively
accelerated memory
absorbs
loss,
nutrients while
cognitive
blocking
fog,
harmful
and the early
substances.
structural changes
In a
seen in
compromised
Alzheimer's
leaky gut,
disease.
both nutrients and
This is not a
toxins
theory.
pass through,
This is a
potentially
pathway
leading to
that can be
health
measured in
issues.
blood and seen in brain
Bacterial
scans.
toxins
The
leak
inflammation
through the
is real.
compromised
The
intestinal
source,
wall.
in many cases,
They enter
is
the
the gut.
bloodstream,
Before
spreading
I go
to other
further,
parts of the body.
have you ever tried dietary
This
changes
process
or
can lead
supplements
to
for your memory
widespread
and felt like
infection.
nothing really changed? Just comment yes or no below. Because what I am about to explain is specifically the reason why, and it is also the fix. Think of the vagus nerve as a 2-lane highway connecting your gut and your brain. Most people assume the signals on that highway run top-down. Brain tells gut what to do. But the data shows the opposite. Roughly 90% of the signals traveling the vagus nerve move upward, from gut to brain, not the other way. Your gut is not a passive digestion machine. It is an active transmitter. And what it is transmitting, every hour of the day, is shaped by the bacterial environment inside it. When the gut microbiome is balanced, when the right bacterial species are present in the right proportions, the signals traveling the vagus nerve support calm, clear cognition. They reduce inflammation. They support serotonin production. They regulate the stress response. When the microbiome is dysbiotic, when harmful bacterial strains dominate, the signals change. The vagus nerve begins carrying pro-inflammatory messages upward, and the brain receives them.
With age, it becomes more permeable.
The day-to-day consequence is not dramatic at first. It is not sudden memory loss. It is the slow accumulation of fog. It is the slightly longer pause before a word arrives. It is the feeling of mental effort where clarity used to be effortless. It is the afternoon energy crash that makes focus feel impossible. These are not random. They are the neurological signature of chronic, low-grade inflammation being broadcast upward through the vagus nerve. A 2019 study published in the journal Nature Reviews Neuroscience, led by Dr. John Cryan at University College Cork, mapped the vagus nerve's role in microbiome-to-brain signaling in detail. His team demonstrated that disruption of the microbiome in adult subjects produced measurable changes in anxiety, cognitive performance, and neuroinflammatory markers, and that restoring specific bacterial strains partially reversed those changes.
Flow is key to
the pathway is not theoretical, it is directional, and it is accessible. Here is where the ACAO immediata connects. The butyrate produced by the fermented vegetables you eat on an empty stomach each morning does two things simultaneously. First, it repairs the intestinal lining, reducing the LPS leakage that drives neuroinflammation. Second, butyrate itself crosses the blood-brain barrier and acts as a direct anti-inflammatory agent in brain tissue, specifically in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the regions most responsible for memory and clear thinking. One action, two mechanisms, both working in the same direction. The second mechanism is one that most people have heard of, but in entirely the wrong context. Serotonin is almost always discussed as a brain chemical, a mood regulator, something that antidepressants act on. What almost no one explains is that approximately 90 to 95% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not in the brain. And it is produced there by specific bacterial species that act on the enterochromaffin cells lining the intestinal wall.
In the morning, consuming fermented vegetables releases butyrate.
The workers,
butyrate molecules travel through the gut,
producing the raw
heading toward the
materials
brain.
that your brain needs to
They
function
interact
clearly.
with brain tissue,
When the right
aiding
workers
cognitive
show
health.
up in the right numbers, production is
Butyrate
efficient.
molecules cross
When
the
they are
blood-brain
displaced by
barrier.
harmful bacterial strains,
They reach
by
the
processed
inflamed
food, by
hippocampus
sugar,
tissue.
by antibiotic residues in the food
Butyrate
supply,
calms the
production
inflammation,
drops.
promoting healing.
The factory floor is
The
still
gut
running,
lining
but
acts
the
as a
output
factory
is wrong.
floor. Here,
Serotonin in the
bacteria
gut
move
does
on
not
produce
directly enter the brain.
neurotransmitters.
The blood-brain
This
barrier
assembly
prevents
line
that, but it
produces
regulates the enteric nervous system,
molecules,
which
are
communicates
then
directly with the
transported
central
out.
nervous system
Within the
via the
intestinal
vagus
wall,
nerve.
beneficial bacteria
When gut
produce
serotonin production
molecules,
is impaired,
a key
the downstream
process in the
effect is
gut-brain
measurable.
connection.
Disrupted
These
mood
molecules are
regulation,
released steadily
impaired
into
sleep
the gut
architecture,
environment, playing a
reduced
vital
cognitive
role in
processing
health and
speed,
well-being.
and increased vulnerability to the neuroinflammatory cascade described in Mechanism 1. In people over 60, this becomes compounding. The microbiome naturally loses diversity with age. Beneficial strains like
In a
Lactobacillus
healthy
rhamnosus
microbiome,
and
the factory
Bifidobacterium
operates
longum,
efficiently,
two of the
producing
most
strong
studied
signals.
species for gut-brain
But
axis
in a
support,
disrupted
decline
microbiome,
steadily after
the
age
factory
60
malfunctions,
without active
leading
intervention.
to weak and irregular
Their decline
signals.
correlates in multiple studies with the cognitive changes most commonly attributed to normal aging. A 2021 clinical trial published in the journal Gut, conducted by Dr. Kristin Tillish at UCLA, demonstrated that targeted supplementation with
Within a
L.
healthy gut,
rhamnosus
a
and
diverse
B. longum
ecosystem of
over 12
bacteria
weeks
thrives.
produced measurable
Here,
improvements in
Lactobacillus
verbal memory,
rhamnosus and
processing speed,
Bifidobacterium
and
longum
mood
are highlighted.
regulation in
They
adults
help
over
maintain
65,
balance, supporting
and that the
digestion and
improvements
overall
correlated
gut health.
directly with changes in gut microbiome composition, confirmed by stool analysis. This was not a nutrition study, it was a cognitive performance study, and the intervention was entirely gut-based. These two mechanisms do not work in isolation. they feed each other. Leaky gut drives LPS into the bloodstream, triggering neuroinflammation. Impaired microbiome diversity reduces serotonin-related signaling and removes the bacterial species that would otherwise repair the gut lining. The inflammation weakens the blood-brain barrier. A more permeable blood-brain barrier allows more LPS to reach the brain. The cycle accelerates. And that is exactly why addressing both mechanisms simultaneously produces results that addressing only one never does. Before I walk you through exactly how to do this, I want to be direct with you. What I'm describing is not a replacement for medical care. If you are on medication, or if you have a diagnosed gastrointestinal condition, speak to your doctor before adding anything new. What this is an evidence-supported, low-risk intervention that works alongside what you are already doing, not in place of it. Most people who try to address gut health for brain support make one specific mistake that completely cancels the benefit. They take a shelf-stable, room-temperature probiotic capsule, the kind sold in most pharmacies and grocery stores, and assume they are done. They are not. Here is the problem. Most shelf-stable probiotic capsules contain bacterial strains that are either dead before they reach the stomach, or that die on contact with stomach acid before they ever reach the small intestine. The capsule counts look impressive: 10 billion CFUs, 50 billion CFUs. But CFU counts measured before packaging tell you nothing about how many live bacteria arrive at the site where they are actually needed. And even among the capsules that survive transit, most do not contain the specific strains, L. rhamnosus and B. longum, that the research on cognitive function specifically supports. The second error: taking probiotics in isolation, without the prebiotic fiber that the bacteria need to survive and colonize. Introducing live bacteria into a gut that has no food for them is like restocking a restaurant kitchen with no ingredients. The staff shows up, there is nothing to work with. They leave. Here is the correct way. Step 1. The morning fermented food, already established as your ACAO immediata. 2 tablespoons of raw, refrigerated sauerkraut or kimchi on an empty stomach 15 minutes before breakfast. This delivers live lactobacillus strains directly, without the acid exposure that destroys capsule probiotics, because the fermentation process has already lowered the pH of the food to a level that protects the bacteria through the stomach. This is not optional for the protocol. This is the foundation. Step 2. A high-quality refrigerated probiotic capsule containing a minimum of 10 billion CFUs, with confirmed strains of Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG and Bifidobacterium longum BB536. Both strains should be listed by their full designation, not just the genus. Take this with your first meal of the day, not on an empty stomach. Unlike fermented food, the capsule needs a small amount of food to buffer it through the stomach. 1 capsule once daily with breakfast. Step 3. Prebiotic fiber consumed at dinner. Not a supplement, a food source. Specifically, 1 medium green banana or half a cup of cooked and cooled white rice or potato. These foods are high in resistant starch, a type of fiber that bypasses digestion in the small intestine and arrives in the colon intact, where L. rhamnosus and B. longum consume it preferentially. This step is what allows the bacteria you introduced in steps 1 and 2 to colonize and remain. Without resistant starch, most probiotic bacteria exit the digestive tract within 3 to 5 days. Step 4. Eliminate, for a minimum of 21 days, the 3 gut barrier disruptors that are most directly linked to tight junction breakdown: industrial seed oils, canola, soybean, sunflower, refined sugar, including high fructose corn syrup, and artificial sweeteners, particularly sucralose and saccharin, both of which have been shown to disrupt lactobacillus and bifidobacterium populations in multiple controlled studies. You do not need to eliminate everything. You need to eliminate those 3 categories specifically for 21 days while the colonization process establishes. After 21 days, you can reintroduce moderate amounts of natural sugars. The seed oils and artificial sweeteners are worth removing permanently. What not to combine with this protocol? Do not take the probiotic capsule within 2 hours of any antibiotic if you are on a course of them. Do not drink alcohol in the evenings during the 21-day window. Alcohol selectively kills bifidobacterium species and will undo the colonization work of the daytime protocol. And do not add multiple probiotic products simultaneously. If you are already taking a different probiotic, complete that bottle first, then transition to the strain-specific formulation described here. What to expect? By day 7, the most commonly reported change is a reduction in bloating and digestive discomfort. The gut is beginning to rebalance. Cognitively, you may notice slightly more consistent energy in the afternoon, when the post-lunch crash was previously most pronounced. This is an early signal that neuroinflammatory load is beginning to reduce. By day 14, word retrieval typically begins to improve. The same mental reach that used to produce a blank now lands on the word faster. This is not placebo. The butyrate pathway is now operating more consistently, and the vagus nerve signaling has begun to shift toward the anti-inflammatory direction. By day 30, mental clarity in the morning, the window before noon, becomes noticeably more consistent. The fog that used to settle in, that feeling of pushing through mental molasses, begins to lift. People in your life may notice that you seem sharper in conversation. You will notice it yourself as the return of something that felt like it had quietly disappeared. Remember the question I asked at the beginning, the fog in your mind, the sense that something is off that you cannot quite locate or explain. By day 30, most people following this protocol can trace exactly where that fog was coming from. And more importantly, they notice that it is lifting. 3 additional factors that support everything this protocol is doing, and that each take less than 10 minutes a day. First, sleep on your left side. The glymphatic system, your brain's overnight waste clearance network, operates most efficiently during lateral sleep. Left side sleeping specifically increases glymphatic flow to the hippocampus by reducing pressure on the descending aorta, which improves cerebral blood circulation during sleep. This is not a major change, it is a position shift, and it compounds the anti-inflammatory work happening in the gut during the night. Second, take a 10-minute walk after lunch. Not a workout, a walk. Zone 2 pace, which means you can speak in full sentences but feel slightly warm. A postprandial walk blunts the blood sugar spike that follows lunch, reduces circulating cortisol in the early afternoon, and triggers a modest BDNF release, the brain growth factor that supports the very hippocampal neurons that gut dysbiosis has been putting under stress. 10 minutes, outside if possible. Third, 5 minutes of structured breathing before you touch your phone in the morning. 4 counts in through the nose, 6 counts out through the mouth. Repeat for 5 minutes. This breathing pattern activates the vagus nerve's parasympathetic response, directly calming the gut-brain signaling axis before the day's stressors begin to activate it. You are not just relaxing, you are resetting the highway. Here is what this video covered. Your gut microbiome is not separate from your brain. It is one of its primary inputs. Gut dysbiosis and leaky gut drive LPS-mediated neuroinflammation through the bloodstream and the blood-brain barrier. Impaired microbiome diversity reduces the gut-produced signals that support clear cognition, stable mood, and healthy sleep architecture. Both mechanisms feed each other, and both respond, measurably within 30 days, to targeted intervention. Your brain did not develop this problem in a week. It will not fully recover in a few days. That is biology, not failure. What the research shows is that consistent, targeted action over 30 to 90 days produces changes that are real and that you will feel. The gut-brain axis is not a fixed state. It is a dynamic system, and dynamic systems respond to consistent input. If you have been doing everything right for your brain and still feel like something is missing, this is likely the missing piece. If this video gave you something useful, comment the word clarity below. I read every comment, and clarity tells me this reached the right person. In the next video, I'm going to show you how chronic stress is not just making you feel worse, it is physically shrinking the part of your brain responsible for memory. I'm going to show you the specific cortisol pattern that causes measurable hippocampal atrophy, and the one compound that the research supports for reversing it. That is next. Your brain is not broken. It adapted, and when you give it what it needs, it adapts back. Not instantly, but reliably. I will see you in the next one.